Right, Billy Big Balls here, episode 15. Wow. Keep saying it every week because I can't believe we're still here, you know what I mean? So, subscribe to the channel. Billy Big Balls on YouTube. Anyway, we have a guest here, all the way from Wicklow. Alright, Pat.
Alright, Bill.
How we doing, bro?
All good, brother.
All good,
yourself?
Yeah. Ah, you know yourself. Keeping well?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're keeping fit anyway, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, anytime I see your fucking videos, you're out running all the time,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
But, so you're from Bray?
From Bray, yeah, from me since.
Right, do you want to tell us about growing up in Bray, what it was like for you?
Yeah, so I grew up in Bray in a housing estate called Old Court. You know, a lot of poverty back when we were there. You know, the estate was only, developing, I suppose, and there was a lot of green land around where we lived. And, the military upbringing, father was a soldier. Two brothers in the house, and just where we lived, it was kind of like fields and that around us. There was a bit of a farm known as Gilly White's and that. And they were kind of good times. We didn't have a lot, but you kind of made
great when you didn't have much. When we were the same, you know what I mean?
Playing the usual kids games out on the street and that. And I remember the old lad, because he was a soldier, he used to bring home this net for volleyball, and he'd set that up on the green outside the house, and then all the other kids on the road would be out playing with us as well. And our house, funny enough, the front of our house was always painted black, right? Because our next door neighbour came around the corner one day with no brakes on his car, and he ended up in our fucking sitting room. So yeah, our house was always painted black outside, and you had the little shores outside for playing marbles and stuff like that. I was born on Christmas Day as well, so from a very, very early age, as far back as I can remember, I always felt really fucking different.
Yeah.
I always felt really hard done by in life, because on the day of my birthday, my two brothers get gifts.
Yeah.
How's that fair?
Yeah.
As a child growing up, so I always struggled, with that. Where was my place in the world? Being the middle child, being born on fucking Christmas Day and stuff like that. And I always had this kind of race in mind that I always felt, less than, and I didn't fit in, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was never able to maintain any kind of friendships and stuff like that, because I was so insecure. I know today, I was so insecure and low self-esteem and stuff like that, and fear of being liked and not fitting in and stuff like that. And then within even school, then I didn't really understand what was going on in the classroom. I was more interested in what was going on out the window. I lived in fantasy. I always wanted to be anywhere but where I was at that moment in time. And so I always lived in my fucking head, and had this voice inside my head that spoke to me in my own voice, and it kind of reinforced all this kind of stuff. And I couldn't settle in school. I was the messer. And because I had the military upbringing, my old lad told us that you always stand on your own 2 feet and you don't ask for help, right? So when I was in the classroom and I didn't know what was going on, I didn't have the ability to put my hand up to say it on. So it was easier to me, and I didn't want to look stupid, and I didn't want to look weak. So it was easier to mess and spend more time outside the classroom than I did in the classroom, you know. And I suppose when I look back at it, all I wanted was a bit of attention. I just wanted a bit of spotlight on me, because I felt invisible, even though I was there, if that makes sense.
Oh no, 100%, you know what I mean? Like, school for me was pretty similar, you know what I mean? Always acting the bollocks, always doing this, you know what I mean? But like, I turned out I was dyslexic, you know what I mean? But like, in school, it goes to show how intelligent the teachers were, you know what I mean? The cunts never copped this, they just put you down as being a mess or acting the bollocks, and he's gonna go nowhere, you know what I mean? Don't even bother fucking teaching him, But yeah.
And that's the way it was for me. It was just like, he's a bold little bastard.
Yeah.
He'll grow out of it, right? And I'd always get the class into uproar, and I'd be doing all kinds of stuff and putting it up to the teachers, and I could never do what I was told. If you told me to do something, I was defiant by nature. I'd do the opposite, right? And I never understood what that was until after I got older, and then, if I jump ahead and then I'll jump back. But it was only when I became an adult and I came into recovery, when I went back into education, I realised I was dyslexic.
Yeah.
And that went undiagnosed in school. And the same with the defiance disorder. I got diagnosed with that as an adult as well. But going back into school, I was always getting suspended, and then eventually going to secondary school, putting it up, grabbing the teacher, getting expelled. Then being made sit like a muppet outside the principal's class, where the rest of the school walking past and you're sitting there like an idiot on your own, alone, isolated, feeling different. And then the fact that I didn't behave like my brothers, and I'd already felt different. I had these adults in my life reinforcing how I already felt different and separate to the world with why can't you be more like your brothers? Why can't you be more like your peers? I just couldn't.
Why can't you be like him?
Ability,
But here, I remember being in school years ago, you know, and the teacher, why can't you be more like him? Like some little bloke in the class, and you're thinking to yourself, there's a thing to say to somebody, you know what I mean? Why don't you do your fucking job and teach me? You fucking dope, you. But yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, and I kind of I was attracted to madness, right? Any kind of madness, right? Even though I knew when I get caught for doing stuff, right, I was going to get into trouble, but as fucked up and all as it seems to be, in that moment, it's all about me. That's all I wanted. You know, I get waiting for it, but it was all about me.
Yeah.
And I was always into that kind of danger and madness, right? And they start building houses around where the fields were around the thing. And if you were looking for me, more often than not, you'd find me in a building suite.
Yeah.
I'd be lighting fires, ripping bags of cement open, blockies would build a wall, I'd kick them down, trying to start the dumpers, the cement mixers, the JCBs, anything, and to get the chase, you know, off
you know what, Pat? I swear to God, everything you described there sounds exactly like my life. I swear to Jesus. Because, there used to be, they were building the new houses down beside us, you know, and the same thing, we were on the dumpers, on the diggers, burning things, robbing things, just shit, mad. But everything you described there, I'm sitting there going, he's like telling my life story here, fuck's sake.
And kind of breaking the windows and doing the knick-knack and stuff like that, and then wanting to fit in, right, and then with the older lads especially, because I was always a big young lad for my age, so I didn't fit in with the young lads of my own age, right, plus anyone who was my age or in my class and that they weren't allowed to hang around me. I'd call to the door and their parents would slam the door in my face, right, and tell me to fuck off, which once again reinforced that feeling different, feeling less than, you know, all that kind of stuff. You'd see like 7 lads who would go to school with, right, and they'd all go into one lad's gaff and then I'd knock the door, oh no, they're not here. Just fucking seeing 7 of them going in. It was just, it was horrible. It was actually cruel. Like I wouldn't do that to a child myself.
Oh no,
today.
listen.
It was horrible.
Exactly what you're saying there, Pat. My life was exactly like what you were saying. You know what I mean? Like when you look back on things, even the parents, cruel cunts. You know what I mean? Like the things he say to you. You know what I mean? No, he's not in, or he's not here. And you, like you say, you see them going into the gaff. You know what I mean? Just man. Sorry.
Yeah. So it was kind of that finding that place to fit in, right, and trying to be a chameleon to blend in for different people. And I was always wild, as I said, and always up for a row or a fight and stuff like that. And the older lads would get me to do stuff, right? And I'd be thinking they'd be liking me, but they're just making a fucking tick out of me, making a tick out of me, right? But if they asked me to break one window, I'd break 3 because I want them to triply like me.
You know, going around like, you know what I mean?
And I remember, you know, I think it was about 8, 9 or 10, in around that age, right? And the old lad had this ashtray. He smoked number 6 at the time. Right?
Oh yeah.
Remember them cigarettes?
Yeah.
Were they Carols or were they Players? Number
Players.
6. Players. Yeah.
Players, buddy.
Players.
No, number 6. Maybe.
And players.
They were fucking.
But he had this ashtray, right, that you could put the cigarettes in. There was like a little dome thing over, and it would. It would put the cigarette out.
Oh,
right? So the first thing I was doing was the old smokes, you know, the danger, addicted to the danger, going in, lighting the fag that was left in the butts, right, or being sent down to the shop to buy the smokes, right, and then telling me dad that the big lad stopped me and took one off me, taking one, thinking I was the big, and giving it to the big lads, thinking I was the great lad, lighting it up and then giving it to them, and then obviously getting killed for it.
For robbing the smoke.
And then there was a little, the shop in Ayr State was a little small shop, right, so everyone had a shop bill in it, and my man's from a big family. My man's one of 14, so a couple of our sisters lived in the estate where we lived, and that. So I used to be going in and getting stuff from my auntie shop bills, sweets and stuff like that.
Put on Mary's bill.
And you know, remember back in the days, like where the good biscuits were up in the press, right? But they were only for when the relatives called,
when
right? You couldn't touch them.
Aunties,
So I'd be climbing up and fucking grabbing them when I was younger, and no one was going to get killed.
But
have a full belly when I was getting
It'd be all about you again then.
Once
you know
again, all in the moment, all about me. So like I think like when before, like going down the road of addiction and all, I think for me it was all behavioural very, very early on. You know, I was brought to child psychologists out to Orwell Road and stuff like that, and I used to have this star chart where if I had a few good days I'd get a star and I might get a reward at the end of the week. Do you know what I mean? But that whole thing, being addicted to the danger, to the madness, some kind of buzz. I needed some kind of feeling within inside of me. And then, say when the cigarettes came first, and then it was like petrol. Then that came next. Seeing the older lads doing that, wanted that buzz. The old yazzie. Oh yeah, the helicopter. Yazzie, and then you'd be gone.
And then the Ninians. We used to sniff Tippex, thinners and all, you know what I mean?
Cellulose, all that kind of stuff. That came then next, and then I suppose at the age of 12, then hash then came into my life, and you know I remember the first time I actually smoked hash. It was before it just made me confirmation, right? Yeah. And there's me and two other lads. One of them's actually dead now. And we went on the mitch from school and we had a bit of hash, but my uncle and another fella had 2 donkeys.
Yeah, right.
But there was 3 donkeys in the field. I don't know who wanted the third one. So we went on the mitch and we took the donkeys out and we went out for the day smoking joints, and it was great.
Yeah,
we didn't even know what we were doing wrong, but it was good. It was great at the time. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of where my real introduction to I suppose narcotics and drugs came into. And then I liked how that made me feel, because it took me down out of my head and it gave me this kind of other kind of feeling. But it still didn't stop the mind. And I tried other things, and then gear started to come into the area. I seen the older lads were on the gear, and at that stage I was 16. I was working, I had a motorbike and that, and I used to give the lads a lift, but I knew what the lads were fucking doing. Once again, people pleasing again, wanting the lads to like me, thinking I was the great lad and that. And I knew eventually I'd get what I really wanted. So they gave me a few quid at first, but as the weeks went by, the money got less and less and less, and then eventually they gave me what I wanted, was the gear. And for me, I didn't start smoking. I went straight for the needle, because if I'm going to do it, I'm all in. That's the kind of way I am. And I was saying to you there earlier on, I had this voice that speaks to me in my own voice, right? And I've always had that, and I still have it today. It's just not as loud as what it used to be. But when I took gear for the first time, silence. It was like I got a break away from myself. When I look back at it now, right, it's like I had an allergy to me true self, right? And for a period of time, drugs became the antidote. They became the solution for me, right? It was like they were my antihistamine in that moment, right? I got a break away from me fucking self. If that makes sense.
Oh no, it makes total sense.
I got strung out then a couple of months later, and I thought the problem was the area where I was in, and we were had to go on a family holiday to Spain, and I met people over there, and of course in my head I'd go back to Spain and be this big fucking drug dealer, gangster. Doesn't work out like that. Went over at first and made a few quid selling a bit of hash to the tourists at first, but eventually I found people that done gear again. I fell back in with them, and I ended up coming back to Ireland more fucked than what I was when I went over. And after being living out of the house for that period of time, I couldn't settle back in the house, because the old lad, he was kind of military in how he done things, and they didn't know how to handle me. They really didn't know how to handle me the way I was. I couldn't settle, and I ended up meeting a girl, and end up having a relationship with her and having a couple of kids with her, and it just became a codependent relationship. We were just 2 addicts together, and unfortunately I introduced her to heroin. She liked her drink, but I introduced her to the gear, and we had 3 kids and we lost the 4th, and at that stage we ended up on the methadone and stuff like that. And
so worse drug, innit?
Yeah, liquid fucking handcuffs. That green diesel, it's hard to get away from. When I started on that, the doctor was like, 3 months detox. Fucking 15 years later, going into a room to actually argue with the doctor to say, look, I've had enough.
Get off this,
I'm actually done. I've had enough. But before I got to that point, I got to the latter years of the use, and the gear stopped working. It stopped doing what it done to me before, right? And I never really liked the uppers. I never really liked the stimulants and stuff like that, because they made me mind fucking louder.
Go mad,
But somehow or other, I ended up fucking picking. And I'd smoked crack on and off over the years. But somehow or another, I'd ended up fucking getting hooked on the fucking crack for the last 2 years of the use, and it drove me insane. I was like a lunatic. I was paranoid, psychosis. I thought the whole world was after me. I was paranoid enough before taking that, but this was more intense. Was like, the light would flicker, and I'd be thinking, the fucking FBI are listening to me. Like, who the fuck am I? I'm just a fucking addict. I haven't got 2 pence to rub the other.
No, but that's the way your mind goes, isn't it?
And whatever kind of morals and values I had when I was using heroin, once the crack came into, they went. I would do anything. I'd shit on anybody, and I literally did shit on everyone, and fucked over everyone that I fucking knew.
Sorry,
for that drug.
That's one drug I never took. Crack.
Well, don't.
No, like, you know what I mean, but like it wasn't really around when we were on the gear. You know what I mean?
It was a look back then. It was when I took it over the years. It was a luxury, right? But in the last couple of years, then that's when it became the problem, and it very, very quickly became a problem, right? And it's the one drug I say that brings you to the animalistic level, right? Where you're literally down on the ground, right, searching for anything that's white, toenail, plaster, wax, candle wax, right? Anything that looks white is going up on that pipe in the hope that you're going to get something out,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
you're like, oh,
yeah.
that's a bit of plastic.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
And then you'd hear the noise, right? And you'd be like, geez, what's that? What's that? Oh, there's someone coming from here, right? Jumping, looking through the curtains to be a light way off in the distance. That's the guards, they're watching.
Yeah.
They're going to come in, right? And then if there was something around you, you'd be standing behind the door like that, holding it, thinking people were going to come in, or if not, you'd be under the bed, right? And it'd probably be, the noise probably would be, I've dropped the lighter and my foot slid across the floor, right? But the insane piece about it is, the minute everything would settle down and you'd feel like the coast was clear, pick it back up and repeat the whole cycle.
Yeah, again.
When I look back at it now, like, that's just totally insane.
Yeah.
Where is the enjoyment in that? Like, it's absolutely none. But at the time, it's just that chasing.
Yeah, I know, yeah. But like, with the guy, you didn't really get really paranoid or that, you know what I mean?
You were asleep most of the time.
Yeah, you whacked out, you know what I mean? Same with the methadone. See that methadone, like, we were talking a few weeks ago, it took me 3 weeks. I just stopped taking it. Didn't go into any rehab, didn't do anything. I had a bottle of it in my bleeding drawer, and I was like, you can give up any time you want, but I was so determined. I'm telling you, it was the best decision I ever made. It was like, you can't go anywhere. You want to go on holidays, you have to tell the fucking customs, you have to get your letter up your doctor. You have to, like, jump through hoops, have a piss in a bottle with some cunt standing there looking at you, then checking your urine, and just say, for instance, there was a thing, codeine. So if you took a Solbidine, you couldn't even take a Solbidine, you know what I mean? Because you were bleeding dirty urine. You have to go to the chemist every day of the week. And
takeaway's gone.
Yeah, your job, you have a job, like this, you're trying to say to the doctor, listen, I have a job. I need to get my job at a certain time. Well, if you don't, you won't be getting your methadone. And you're fucking going around bleeding, stressed out of your head, trying to do this and do that, just to stay on a methadone program. It's the biggest load of fucking bollocks, you know what I mean? They should, I don't know how they haven't come up with a way to get people off whatever drugs are on, onto methadone for 3 weeks or 6 weeks, and then that's it. Like, it's...
We do have the solution with the Suboxone, but you have to go sick off your methadone for a couple of days. If you're going to go sick off your methadone for a couple of days, you might as well just see the whole rattle out.
See the whole go out, yeah. Like 3 days into it, you know what I mean? Like, it hits you after 2 days, you know? Like, I asked the bloke that was at the getting off, and I says to him, what's it like, you know? He goes, listen, Billy, when it'll hit you, you'll know. You know what I mean? A day or two into it, bang, it hits me, you know what I mean? And it was like, it was tough, but it was, you know, you're battling with your brain, you know what I mean? Your mind saying to you, just drink the fucking thing. I'm in bits here, you know what I mean? And you're saying to yourself, no, fuck that, no, you know what I mean? You're up all night, you're thinking of mad stuff, mad shit going on in your head, you know? But, yeah. How did you get off of yourself?
So like that, with the crack completely came out of control, right? And I was fucked, right? There was nowhere else for me to go, nothing else for me to do. I was going around paranoid wreck, couldn't get slate anywhere I knew because I was running up bills left, right and centre. I was on my own, no one was talking to me and stuff like that. And I was like, right, what am I going to do? I need to try and get fucking help. Yeah. And I had this chance encounter with someone who I met from my past, right? And they were telling me about recovery, right? And I was like, geez, that sounds like a great idea, but I'm a lazy bastard, right? Yeah. So I was thinking, if I hang around with them, like the old chameleon, right? I'll be able to blend in a bit what they are. But it doesn't work like that. I realise that now. But what it did do was it reintroduced me to what life could be like. Even though I was still using, but there was a better way. Yeah. So I tapped into a local service up in Sandyford, DLR Cat, and start getting one-to-ones up there. And, you know, they were working with me for a while. And, you know, the great key worker up there, John Brassel, absolutely amazing man. And he kind of set little goals for me to do each week. But he wanted me to go into treatment. And because I had the military upbringing at me dad, and I have defiance disorder, I can't do as I'm told. Right? So it wouldn't have worked out well for me. I would have ended up in fucking conflict. I know I would have ended up in conflict, right? So he said to me, right, the only other option for you is right, you try to get clean in the community and you use supports like fellowship and stuff like that. And there does be a meeting on in this building. Would you be interested in trying it? So I did. I started going to meetings, right? And I couldn't look at anyone in the eyes. I'd use before the meeting, I'd use after it, right? But I started to hear little bits of stuff that was said, and every time I used, right, I'd hear a little golden nugget or a phrase that someone had their voice, and I fucking ruined it, right? So I was like, Jesus, this is what's happening to me. Like, I don't know what's happening, right? So I started to collect key tags, like you do, right? And I've always been told I never done anything right, and I always get it wrong. So I started going up and collecting the key tags, and all I was doing at this stage then was I had stopped using street drugs, and I was just on my methadone. you know, I was starting to listen, I was starting to look up, I was able to hold conversations with people, right? Where at first I could only tell you what they had on their feet, because it was that shameful. The head hung in shame, felt less than, all of that kind of stuff, right? I was getting key tags, and then a fella turns around to me one night, he was getting me 60 days, and he turns around, why are you taking that? You're still in your methadone, you're not clean. I was like, wow, devastated, prick, right?
Wanker,
but somewhat, you see,
I was doing great.
Excuse I needed to go back out using. Do you know what I mean? Because once again, you're a fuck up. You can't do this, right? So I went back using again for a couple of weeks. But in the time that I was going there, right, there used to be a little small blue book that they used to have, right? And a fella wrote his phone number in it. And I remember at the time, right, when he wrote his phone number in it, I was like, that cunt ain't going gay. See what to write me? I'll kill him, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I was so close-minded, right, to everything that was going on. I wasn't used to people being nice to me. Because anytime I was nice to someone, I was working an angle.
Trying to get something out of
there was always something that I wanted, right? And that was the only reason, right? But I had that little book and had it me drawn. I used to always leave something in my top drawer to get me straight the next morning, right? And as I say, I went back fucking using, and I got a load of drugs off a fella. And I had a falling out with this fella years ago, and then we got back talking, and I got a load of drugs, and I thought, you know what? I was thinking suicide because I couldn't get clean. I thought I couldn't get clean, right? And that everyone would be better off without me. So I got a bit of weight, cooked the whole thing up, sat there smoking it all night, right? Hoping that the heart would just go bang and that would be the end of me, right? But it wasn't. I woke up the next morning, right? In a load of debt, right?
Oh, yeah,
I reached over, right, to see if there was anything in the drawer to get me straight, and there wasn't. But what was there was that blue book, right? And now I know what humility is. I had to humble myself, right? Because I had no one else to ring to get anything else off. So I took the book out and I rang the bloke and I said to him, you know, I'm fucked. I want to come back in. I want to give this a try, And he said to me, I'll meet you. And I went up and I met him, right? And we actually laugh about it, the stuff today. He goes, you wouldn't be me type anyhow. But I started going back up, regular meetings again, come up with a plan, linked in with my doctor, and I said, look, I've had enough, I need to come off this methadone. I was on 130 mils, right?
Fucking hell.
And I was like, I need to come off it, like, I really have enough. And she was like, oh no, you're a lifer, you'll never come off it, you know, you've been on it too long. And I was like, no, I need to. And because of the defiance disorder, you tell me I'm not doing it.
I'm fucking doing it,
and I'll prove you wrong, right? So I started to, you know, detox down on the methadone. I started to discover exercise then. I seen that exercise made me feel a little bit better. And when I couldn't sleep, if I get out of bed, a few push-ups, a few press-ups, I'd be able to go back to sleep for an hour, right? And I started doing that, and it was grand dropping down off the first bit, right? But once again, with me closed mind, right? I got down to 13 mils, right? I used to do 5 mils till I got to 50, and then when I got to 50, I started doing 3 and 2, right? I got down to 13 mils, right? I started to get sick, right? But once again, looking for differences. People saying to me, you're sick, man, just stop. And I was like, no. How long were you on a 3, 4 year, 5 year, 6 year? Well, I've been on it 15 years and I was binding off the street before that. You know, once again, the whole looking for differences, closed mind, all of that kind of stuff, right? And went on my own will, which I've always done, self-will. Another 10 weeks I went at 1 mil a week, right? And I'll never forget it. I went into a meeting, right, and there used to be a meeting in Abbey Street. It's now closed, and it's 3 flights of stairs, right? And again, you hit the top of that stairs, you were fucked. You had to sit to recover before you could move again, right? And there was a guy down the chair, and after the meeting, he came up to me and he spoke to me because I was at the sharing, right? And like I said to you, I never done what I was told because of the defiance disorder. If I felt I was being controlled, because one of my character defects is control. I like to control everything, right? I like to control my own recovery detox back then. But he came up to me and it's the first time I realised what suggestion was. He handed me back my power, right? Gave me the gift of choice that day. He came up to me and said, Pat, what time do you take a methadone at? I said, normally when I wake up, could be 8, half 8 in the morning, right? He said, what would it be like if you wake up at half 8 in the morning and you don't take it till 9:30? And then you see how you are at 9:30 and wait till 10:30 and see how you are, and so on and so forth, right? That was May the 24th, 2015. I've never had to use again. So I'm just over 10 years clean. And it was because I listened. He gave me back the power. He wasn't telling me what to do. He gave me choice.
Gave you a choice.
Where I'd given my choice up freely to drugs years beforehand. So I started going and say regular meetings all the time, right? And then at that time, during that time before I got clean, I was going to a meeting down in Ringsend where you're from. And the Spellman Centre. And I met people there that worked there, and they said to me, look, we can get you onto the stabilisation program here. And I was like, no, I don't want the stabilisation program. If I'm going to get on a program, I want to get on drug free. And that was the goal. And I realised then that goal setting was going to be a huge part of my recovery. So I got drug free, and they started me on the day program down there. And, you know, with a couple of different key workers when I was down there, because once again, still had that old way of thinking, right, that I knew best. And I was a big fella then, you know, I was going to the gym all the time, and I'd fairly, you know, filled out, and, you know, I was always trying to intimidate people, which was all kind of, you know, all behaviours and stuff.
Me down the gym.
But just trying, you know, the usual, trying to throw your weight around and stuff like that. But like, I went to that place, and honestly, you know what, it changed me for the better, because although I was going to meetings, I wasn't really working on my behaviours and my other stuff, and that's where the Spellman was invaluable for me, for coming in that. And then I met, I don't know, emotional now when I say it, but it's all right, it's just a feeling. And that's one of the gifts I got back in recovery too, is my feelings. So I met Tony Fallon, absolute legend of a man. And he was the first person that I can actually say in my life that I had a proper relationship with, that there was never anything expected or wanted from me. He just took me, you know, as I was, and he tried to guide me and teach me in all different ways, you know. He saw the value in me. He taught me to have a belief in myself. He supported me on every single thing that I done. You know, he set me out on the road to education. He said, don't worry about, you know, the fact that you had bad time in school before. You know, you can go back now with an open mind and just try it and see what it's like. Once again, suggestion, you know, and give me that power of choice again. And, you know, so that's what I decided to do. You know, I went to the day program down there, went in every day. I used to go to the gym over for a couple of hours after it.
That's how I know you, that's how I met you in the gym, I
used to go there from 9 till 1, and then I'd go over to the gym after it, then over in Rings End, and I'd spend probably another 2 hours in there, you know, to fill up my time, right, give me something to do, bit of structure, because that's what I needed, structure, because when I was at home, my head was still loud, and I'd be thinking about stuff and that, and, you know, I know today what I suffer with is a thinking thing. You know, the drugs were only a symptom of what I suffer with. My real problem is my fucking mind, what's between me 2 ears. So to say, I started linking in, going to the gym all the time, and I seen the benefits for exercise, and, you know, I started to give back and try help others then within the gym, because I picked up a few little things I knew.
And all,
And then I was like, right, I could actually probably do this as a career. And Tony supported me to help me get funding and that, and I went off and I trained to be a personal trainer, a gym instructor, a nutritionist for physical activity, and I loved education. But when I started that first college course, it was a tutor in the course turned around to me, said to me, I think you're dyslexic. That's how I ended up getting diagnosed as the adult, going and seeing it after that. Because he said to me, he said, like, you're very good at visual and audio stuff, but when it comes to your writing,
it's
leaving words out, spelling things different, all that, loads of little hallmarks were there. And I was worried about my first exams that I had to do, right? A lot of fear around it. I feared of failure, and I had this high expectation on myself. And before I went to do the PT course, I done one up in Bull Alley, right? Like communications, computers and maths, right? It was like a reintroduction to college before I went to do the PT stuff, right? And I done an assignment, right? And I got 99%, right? And I started on the tutor, because I'd got 1 or 2 people to proofread it afterwards, and they said, yeah, that's great work, right? And I was like, where's the 1% gone? Right, and it was an A+, so an A+ is anything over 90 or 85% or whatever, right? And they were like, no one really gets 100, like, you know.
We have to leave some, you know what I mean?
And I was like, no, there's nothing wrong with that, blah, blah, blah. But it turned out there was like a comma or something missing, so I lost the mark for that, right? But it was once again striving for that perfection, right? And almost like trying to set myself up for failure. The old inner critic jumping, look, you didn't get that right, you lost the percent, you know. Once again, that voice back in my head, chatter, almost trying to deter me going on to do the
mind tries to blame.
Try to rob me again, right? But I pushed past it, had this chat with Tony, pushed past it, went and I done the PT thing. This tutor who I had, he discovered that, and he taught me videos and that, because I was worried about like the cardiac and the respiratory system, right? But he showed me this cartoon video, right? And I was able to see how everything worked. And I passed the exams, no bother. Got my qualifications and that. Went back into the day program for another while. Wanted to explore the addiction side of stuff as well. Went on, done a level 5 in addiction studies, CRA, CBT, a few other little bits, because I wanted to use the fitness to go back out and help people as an alternative therapy. And I started to do that. I started to volunteer a little bit in some places. Then eventually left the day program, went in working fitness full time, just while I was trying to pursue the education in other ways and that, because obviously I had a family and I needed to provide and stuff like that. And then I ended up, Tony helped me enroll then to do the level 7 diploma in community drug and alcohol work. So I went and I done that in UCD, and I managed to graduate that then as well. And then 2019, then that's when I finished all that. I decided to right, let's go pursue a job within the field now. But use my fitness as part of the role, and that's what I done. I went working for the service for a couple of years, and then I went working to another service, and then someone said to me, "You'd make a great youth worker." So I went and done youth work for 2 years. So I done three years working in a service, a drug-free day program. Then I done 2 years working in homelessness, and then I done nearly 2 years in youth work, and I didn't like it. I prefer to work with addicts. I love working with addicts, and the more chaotic the better, because I can relate to them. I've been to that place, right? And I always wanted to be a recovery coach, and at the time there was different criteria for it, right? And it was mostly Dublin and Cork people, and a lot of people had to go through one organisation. It seemed to be people going through one organisation that were getting the opportunities to do this. And there about 2 years ago then, I was doing a bit of work with the Recovery Academy, and I said I'd love to be a coach. It was always a goal that I wanted. And I said all the coaches are from Cork and Dublin. There's none in any other counties. So I'd set myself a goal that I want to be Wicklow's first ever recovery coach, to be a person that lived experience, to go back out and help people.
That's commendable, Pat. You know what I mean? Like,
thanks
to give things, to go back and give things back. Most people get off things and just like, fuck that, man, I'm out here. Don't want to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, your past is your past, you know? Like, that's why we talk about this shit on the show. Like, we don't care what people think of me past. Like, you know, it's me now. Like, if you don't like me now, well, that's your own problem.
And I'm kind of like that. What other people think of me, none of my business.
Oh, no,
that's their shit.
That,
It's what I think of myself.
Yeah,
is
that
what's
matters,
most important. And being of service and being in a position, because I'm in a position now to give back to others. And it makes me feel good. It helps me make amends for the stuff that I've done wrong in the past.
I'll tell you what, man, you know, you talked about your man there, Tony. He had some influence on your life, hadn't he?
Yeah. Oh,
like,
100%.
Jesus Christ, like, you know what I mean? I'd like, just listening to where you were getting emotional there talking about him.
And that's it. He passed last November. And even though I had finished in the day program for years, over time my relationship with him changed, right? So instead of me being a client and him being the worker, we became friends. He was that mentor to me that whenever I had something going on, I could always pick up the phone, check in with him. He'd always give me a bit of guidance. And I'd used to drop down to Ringsend every now and again, down to the Spellman, you know, to go and have a natter with him and say hello to the rest of the staff, but mostly to see him. But I remember when he passed last year, there was this huge hole, you know, was inside me after, because who do I go to now? Who do I talk to? But I realised, right, although he's physically not here, he's always going to be with me. I talk to him in my own head. He's always going to be here. I look for little signs. I have his picture on my fridge, right? So every morning when I go to the fridge to take the milk out, he's like that, looking at me, and it's like, I'm watching you, or I'm with you. You know, whatever way I want to interpret it on any given day. And, you know, his anniversary is coming up next November, and I was talking to his wife there a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to do something to kind of mark the occasion for him. And, you know, I got into the running there a couple of years ago, and I'm going to do a run, and his two sons are going to come with me, and, you know, and as I said to you, like, he'd done so kind of much for me, and I was in a position then to be able to give back. And you know, when I went and I done the recovery coaching, I was like, right, I want to try help in my community, and especially in Wicklow, because we don't have a lot of services out around there.
It's not like Dublin or whatever.
And to be able to help and give out, because everything is always in Dublin and stuff like that. And people are really good for doing things out here, but I end up with the COVID. I'm going to go back a little bit. I end up with the COVID, right, and I had it 4 times, right, and I couldn't breathe. And they put me on 5 inhalers, 3 steroid, a reliever and a preventer, right, and they couldn't bring the breathing under control. And the doctor said to me, look, you're going to have to give up your exercise. And hiking was another thing that I done from when I got clean. I'm always out on the mountain. Still to this day, I'd be out doing it now. Hiking. But yeah, the doctor told me I couldn't do any of that kind of stuff anymore. And I was like, no, once again, defiance disorder. You're telling me I can't do that. I'll prove you fucking wrong, right?
Here we go.
I was never into running. I never really liked it. In my head, it was big.
Yeah,
had all
yeah,
these
big
gains,
muscly,
not losing them, ego, full of ego, right? But I didn't need an ego anymore. I just
Yeah.
needed more humility and to be more humble, right?
Yeah.
So I started doing my own research. That was a skill that I realised that I got to in recovery. I was really good at research and stuff, right? So I started looking up hot and cold therapy, started watching Andrew Huberman, Susanna Solberg, and I seen that hot and cold can help your body repair internally. And when you sit in a sauna, your heart and your lungs work the same way they do as you run. Now, the rest of the muscles don't, but the heart and lungs do. So I started doing that. Start sea swimming every day. That's why I swim in the sea every day, still to this day. Start sea swimming every day, having the hot and the cold, right? And then my breathing started to improve. I noticed that I didn't need the inhalers as much anymore. And then eventually I didn't need them at all. So once again, the goal setting kicked back in for me. And I set a goal to do a couch to 5k. I set it in the January and it hurt me back, so I couldn't do it. So I had to delay it till the February. And there was a run coming up in the get the message out there in Darndale. And I was like, right, I'm going to do that 5k run, right?
Yeah.
So I trained up for a couch to 5k, done it, came over the line, they put a medal over me head, and I was like, yes, fucking love this, right? Here we go.
Yeah.
Gave me another good feeling, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I got into the run, and I realised through my goal setting kind of stuff that I could keep increasing it. So I was able to do a 5k, then a 5 miler, then a 10k, then a 10 miler, half marathon, 3/4 marathon, and then I eventually done the big one last year, the Dublin full, and I'm doing it again now this year as well.
Yeah.
But like I seen how invaluable the running was, right? And then you know, I was like, right, with the coaching and all that, and I was trying to find a way, like, how can I use all the stuff that I have, the skills that I have, right? How can I use it to bring people together? And I just say, I'm not a competitive runner, I'm a social runner.
Yeah.
I love running, having chats with people, right? Getting to know them, having a bit of banter, right? So I started doing warm-ups, and I started going around to other different running clubs and you know, doing the warm-up for them, getting to know different people, and I was seeing how the clubs and all work, right? And then I said, you know what, I'm going to try form my own club. And there was 2 lads I used to run with, and I said to him, I said, how about we start up a club? And one of them had kind of gone off the radar, and I said to the other fella, I said, look, I'm going to start this club, I'd like you to come on board and give me a hand. So that's how Active Recovery Running Community came about.
Sorry, where is it based?
So we're based between Bray and Dunleary.
Right, okay.
So we cover all out that side for people that are any spectrum of addiction or mental health. They're all welcome to us, you know.
Do you have a phone number or anything like that?
Yeah, Instagram page, Active Recovery Running Community. Hit us up on that, you know. And
there you go, you hear that?
You're more than welcome to join us out on the roads. Like, let's do this journey together.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. And I wanted to try bring people together and use that goal setting for people and watch people change their lives, because I knew the feeling I got from it. Yeah. And I was like, right, more people need to experience this. It's great. Yeah. So we kind of went out, done a couch to 5k, brought a few people through that process, and most of the lads who are running with me now, they're all smashing 10Ks. There was 4 of us going to do the Dublin Marathon this year. There was 4 of us 2 weeks ago over in Stockholm doing a half marathon, nighttime half marathon. Yeah. And even with that, helping people set goals where they hadn't had passports, applying for their passport again. Yeah. You know, and they hadn't even been on a holiday. Yeah, never since they got clean. Yeah. And it was like getting them to come somewhere different.
Show them the
social anxiety, so you're not feeling different to anyone. So what we wanted to do was, after the couch to 5k, rather than throwing someone straight into a race, right, come up with the idea, we'll use the park runs. So we started doing the park runs where there'd be more people, you'd be running with different people, and they'd be anxious. But by the end of it, they'd be chatting to new people. Do you know what I mean? And then the colours, I suppose, for the club too is like, purple is the colour of recovery, but white is the colour of surrender. And that's why we have an ombre design. It's the recovery fading into the surrender. Yeah, right. So there's a whole meaning behind
the thing. Yeah.
And like, there's some people that don't run. I have it as an active recovery running community, but some people don't run. But we also do the odd cycle. We do hikes. We swim in the sea. So, you know, if someone doesn't want to run,
I do see our videos up all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. People are more than welcome. That's what it's there for. It's like another little add-on service, because there's some people, you know, they're not in a position to go into a day program, right? They might be working, right? But at the same time, they still suffer with the disease, with the dis-ease of addiction. So I don't like saying disease, it's a dis-ease, because it's this thing in your bleeding mind,
it's in your mind,
So they need to go to work and stuff like that, families to support or wherever. Where we're something there that's an add-on extra, you know, and it's a community of like-minded people, because addiction is all isolation and disconnection, where recovery for me is connection, it's community,
Yeah.
it's everybody coming together with that common goal, just to be there to support each other.
Yeah.
And one of the things too is, for me, fun. You have to have a laugh. We don't take things too serious.
Nah,
a few
like,
belly
fuck's
laughs.
sake.
Yeah, come here.
If you listen, you know what I mean? Like, you're giving like hope to people, you know what I mean? Tell them like, hey, listen, come to the running club, we go out with a room, we'll have a chat, we'll have a buzz, we'll have a bit of crack. Like you say, it's isolation when you're on drugs, because you don't want to be around anybody, because you want to take it all yourself. You don't want to share with nobody, you know what I mean? And everybody, you do fucking mad shit on people, like, you know what I mean? When you're on drugs, it's unbelievable, like, you know?
Oh, when I go back to me crack use, like, I was that addict who'd fucking rob you and help you look for it.
Yeah,
like, to be me and you sitting in the room with probably Frankie, and Frankie'd go, and I'd be already robbing it every time everyone's head was turned, and then the minute Frankie'd leave, and you'd be like, where's it all gone? I'm like, that Frankie, man. He took it.
Yeah,
he took it. Be in my bleeding pocket.
Yeah, yeah.
It'd be in my pocket.
Yeah, no.
But that's the kind of things I don't know. It's not like that now. It's like, the whole thing is like, I just try to live a simple enough out life. You know, I get up every morning, I get down, I have a swim in the sea. I try to connect with other people in recovery as soon as I wake up. Try to give back. I share a little bit of literature and try to link in with different people throughout the week. People that I mightn't have spoke to, or people that are in the club that maybe have been a bit quiet. You know, we'll throw them an old text and just try to get a bit of conversation going. Try bring them back in. And I suppose then, even what we were doing, the work that we were doing, then Dunleary, there was a guy, the community development officer, seeing what I was doing, and he reached out to me and he linked us in with Active Cities, and you know, Active Cities gifted us the whole Irish Race Runner Series. So I had people that I brought through the Coast to 5k that eventually went on to do a 5 mile run and then a 10 mile run, which is 16 kilometres. These are people that were doing absolutely nothing from down, and to watch them grow and how they changed and that, it's just, honestly, God, it blows me away when I look at how far some of the people that have come. Like, I've had lads that have been with me for 2 years that couldn't open their mouth, you know, in a room full of people, that now could actually stand up and talk, and that. It's just how their confidence and all,
you know what,
grew.
like, drugs takes all your shit away, you know? Like, when you come off it especially, you're all over the fucking shop, you know what I mean? Your confidence is like on the floor, you know what I mean? And then this, when you build yourself up and you get to a certain stage, it's like, yeah, I'm back, man. You know what I mean? Like, and the feeling of it is unreal. Like, you know, like nowadays, like you say, well, I couldn't give a bollocks what anyone thinks or what they say. I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I know who I am. I fucking been with myself for so long, and when I was coming off drugs, I was in my own head. I figured out who I was, and I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a great feeling. When you don't give a bollocks what people think of you, the feeling is unreal. You know, like, I know people and they be like, oh, I'm going to go out and what's he going to be like? Fuck him. Go out, man. Get out of your head. Like, I don't mean get out of your head. I mean get out of your fucking head. Don't be thinking stupid things. Nobody, and like, it's like when you go to the gym. When you walk into the gym, you think everyone's looking around at you. Nobody in the gym gives a bollocks about what you're doing. They're all concentrated on themselves, you know what I mean? But, yeah.
To me, that's the true freedom. The true freedom is not.
I'm telling you,
not
give. I don't give a bollocks.
Think you. It's
I
what you
walk
think
around
of yourself.
like,
that's the most important thing. It's what I think of me. Do you know what I mean? I still have that monkey brain. You know, that's what I call the monkey on my back. Right? It's still there. Some days it's heavy metal. Some days it's lullabies. Do you know what I mean? It all depends on what I'm doing and how I am in myself. But I can catch it now. And I suppose the one biggest thing for me, I suppose, in recovery over the last couple of years was I was in this internal battle, right? With what I suffered with. You know, hated it, always in the ring with it. I'm a big fella, I'm a heavyweight, but what I suffer with is a super heavyweight. Every time I get into the ring with that, it's putting me on my hole, time and time again, but I found a way. I learned to love it. It's part of me.
It's fucking
It's
great.
kept me alive, right?
Although it led you to here. The way you are now, you know what I mean?
It allowed me exist. I wasn't living really. It allowed me exist till I came here and I found a better way. And you know what? Now it's my turn to look after that. And how I look after is look after it with love. You know, so when it's on me, I just say, are you at it again? Come on, give it over. It's like I was saying to you with the running, right? I don't run to be competitive. I like social running. I run to stay out of my head. If I'm running competitively, I'm in my head. you know, focused on times, all that, giving myself a hard time. Where I don't need to do that. I just need to go out, have a laugh and a chat, right?
Ball,
and then you don't even notice the distance going in. And I come up with this idea 2 years ago, right? I call it the monkey on my back challenge, right? Learning to love your monkey. Now I hope someday someone will give me a real monkey to do this. I'm going to be doing it again in another few weeks, but this time I'm going to actually do it as a fundraiser for the club, because the people I'm working with, the majority of them aren't working, they're on day programs, money's tight, like, and they're not always able to buy stuff, and you know, the gear is expensive enough, like your kits and stuff like that. So I want to try generate a few funds so that I have money there. If someone's coming out of treatment, they want to join us, they want an old t-shirt or a pair of runners, be in a position to be able to do that and give back to them. But myself and one or two of the other club members, we're going to do what I've been doing the last 3 years. Year one I've done it by myself. Last year I had 2 join me, and this year I'm going to have 3 or 4 join me as well. But I call it the monkey on my back challenge, right? So I get up, I do a sunrise 5k and a swim, sea swim, and then I drive in Bray, which is on the east coast. Then I drive down south, down to Cork, to Garavow. I do another 5k run, another sea dip. Then I'm in the car again. I drive over to the west, over to Galway, to Salt Hill. I do
all in the same day, you know?
Yeah. The challenge is to do it in less than 24 hours. It's 1,133 kilometres. So I drive over to the west, do Galway, Salt Hill, and then from there I drive up to Donegal, to Kinnoge Bay. Every beach in Donegal has white sand. This beach has red sand. It's where the last of the Spanish Armada crashed. I have my last run and swim up there, and then I drive back home, back down to Bray.
Wow.
So I'll be doing it again now in another few weeks. And I actually run all the locations with the monkey on my back. And it gets conversation going, because people say, why have you got a monkey? And then I explain to them, once again, it's my way too of making recovery visible in the community, right? There's no shame in being in recovery.
Oh no,
you know what
listen,
I mean?
you know what I mean?
Let's end the stigma. Let's get it out there.
Like,
show that there is another way.
Listen, you know, we could talk about people that are on drugs. Like, most of the people that you meet that are at the coming off drugs are some of the most interesting people. When you start talking to them, you think to yourself, like, I used to see you and think you were just a bleeding, just like me, a junkie, you know what I mean, or a drug addict or whatever, you know what I mean? And then when you start talking to them, you're like, how did you end up getting into drugs? And like, some people, I met some really interesting people, and it's only when you came off drugs that you spoke with them, you know, because you're probably trying to fucking rip them off or do something, when you know what I mean. But when you talk to them and listen to them, you're like, man, like, there's some of the nicest people you'll ever meet, you know what I mean?
And that's what I always say. I've never met a stupid drug addict or alcoholic, right? I've met many a stupid person. But I'm yet to meet a stupid drug addict or alcoholic.
You can't be...
The stuff that you do, the creativity, and everyone has some kind of creative side, right? It's like you doing this podcast. You found a niche. You found your calling, do you know what I mean? You used to be the Eggman back in the day. You used to be Billy's Eggs, now it's Billy's Balls.
Billy's Balls now,
But you find a niche. It's like me. I suppose I have a gift to be able to help people, right? And I'm able to reach people in a way that people understand and they can connect with. Do you know what I mean? Like a different approach.
It is, you know what I mean? Like, and you've been through it. That's why we were talking about last week with Thomas about going to counsellors and all this. And I was saying, look, you know, I know they probably went to school, they have a great education and all, but if you weren't on drugs, I wouldn't listen to you. You know what I mean? It's like, if you want to play and do something or do a business, you're going to talk to someone that's already done the business. And you get their advice. You're not going to sit there and listen to some fucking, you know, some EJ, you know what I mean? Oh, listen, you know what I mean? But like,
What I always say is everyone has their own answers, right? You just need to sit down with the right person to be able to talk to get it. Do you know what I mean?
It's like,
no one understands an addict like another addict. We're all experts in our own experience, right? And we may have taken different paths and different roads, but we still suffer with the same thing. But it's through identification and sharing. That's how we get the healing. Because it's like when I'm talking to you and you catch something I say and you're able to summarise and get back to me, it's like light bulb moment. That's what it is.
But that's exactly what it is, you know what I mean? But listen, the all the marathons and everything, the fucking...
That's what I'm doing now at the moment.
Like even since when I first met you, you know what I mean? You were a big bloke, you know what I mean? Like, not that you're not a big bloke now, but I mean, you were just a big muscly fucker, you know what I mean? Now you look toned, you must be out running all the bleeding time, eh?
But that's a couple of times a week now for the marathon coming up. But I'm doing a thing, I set myself a challenge too for September, I'm calling it the Streak Timber, right?
Yeah.
So I'm running every day for the 30 months, I'm running every day for the 30 days of September. 30 months I'll be dead.
I know, I was thinking, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. For the 30 days of September, right?
Yeah.
But I'm wearing some different kind of purple t-shirt every day when I run.
Yeah.
And then when I'm in my normal civvy clothes, I'll have some kind of purple on then as well to highlight that, to show the recovery is possible, make it visible in the community. But the challenge is to run at least 1 mile a day, which is 1.6 kilometres. Now, the addict in me will not allow me just to do that. I want to do more. But I just set myself that as a target. Yeah. And that if anyone else wants to jump on board and do it with me, I mean, that's all you need to do. Let's run this road of recovery together. I'm into day 4 now today. I actually went out when I ran with Merchants Quay today as well on the streets of Dublin, which was really strange because there was a time in my life I used to go into Merchants Quay to get an exchange. And then I'm going in and actually running with the staff there over. It's just great, you know. It's how it changes, that whole 180 of the life. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'm just doing everything completely different.
I remember one time I met this bloke, right? We used to be up in the clinic in Baggy Street. He worked there, you know, taking the urines or whatever, you know what I mean? And I met him in Renla one day, right? And he was saying to me, I'm on my way down to meet the doctor down and thing. I'm bleeding at the... He used to hang around, remember? He used to hang around with them all. You remember him there? Right? And I met him one day, right? And he was saying to me, I'm on my way down, I'm getting on a methadone program. I said, I'm telling you, man, don't fucking do it. And he was like, what? I said, I'm telling you, don't fucking go on a methadone program, you know what I mean? Just whatever. But yeah, no, it was mad, like, you know, he used to walk in the place where you were, and he'd be around addicts all the time, you know what I mean? And then he became one, you know. It was like
hard graft as well, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what I mean, like
it is. It's hard working with people. Do you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of stuff can come up. You transfer similar stuff to your own, being triggered and that. But at the same time, it's very, very rewarding when you can get people to make subtle little changes of how they're winning their life back. It's like I do say to people, it's not about the big wins. The small wins add up, right?
Yeah, man.
And I'm all about using that community reinforcement approach, which is CRA. So if I was working with someone and they're taking a tray of Tranix every day, right? Yeah. And I can get them one day instead of taking the whole tray, that they take one pill less, right? Yeah. That's a win. Yeah. Right? And then you reinforce them with fair play. That must have been really hard, and you explore it with them, right? Then the affirmation becomes the new drug for them. Yeah. You come back into the next time and say, do you know what? There was 3 days I only had 9 on the tray. Yeah. And that's it. That's how you give them the bit of hope. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Not saying to them, well, why didn't you do it for the other 4 days, right? Why did you only do it for 3? No. Notice the small wins. You know, start to pour back into people, because there's so many people that are just used to people being negative.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
It's the small wins that add up. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Tranix street drug. It's one of the street tablets now. Alperazim. It's a bogey street tablet. It's one of them ones that has the nitrazine and that in it as well. So it's causing a lot of deaths and highly addictive as well. The place has gone mad. So I look at it now, like even with the crack, right? When I was getting clean over 10 years ago, crack was my thing, but it was scarce, few and far between.
There wasn't many.
I look at it now, every second person, they're doing crack pipes in exchanges and all now. Yeah? Yeah, you can get a crack pipe exchange. 2 different types, And you don't even need the ash anymore. One of the pipes they have as a gauze, and you just put the rock straight in it and smoke it. It's mad. But it's just real openly on the street. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's mad. And even with weed, like years ago, you'd be having a joint as a young lad, right? You'd be hiding away from the adults,
big
right?
time,
Now people are just walking down the street smoking like cigarettes.
Adults are walking around smoking, you know what I mean? Like,
And I remember saying there with the methadone, your man getting hooked on the methadone, don't go on it. I remember when I was coming off, I said to you there earlier that the doctor was saying to me, oh no, you're a lifer and all on it.
That's a cunt thing to say to someone.
I used to meet that woman, right? After I got clean, right? And she'd say, well, how did it all work out? And I'd be like, I didn't come back to you, did I? Yeah. So that means I'm still clean, love. Yeah. You know, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, that's the mentality of doctors. This is why more people aren't getting clean. They're not getting free.
Because they don't want you to get off it.
Reinforced.
They're getting paid money by you know what I mean?
€25 script.
Like when I used to go up and get me fire off the doctor, you know what I mean? One day I would just when I stopped taking it, And I rang him, right, and I says to him, here, listen, I'm knocking the foot on the head now. And he goes, you can't do that. Your body's going to go into shock. Get up here immediately and all. I said, listen, fuck you. And then I just gave him loads of abuse on the phone, knowing when I hang up, you know what I mean? Like, and someone was telling me that they were in the fucking, not when I was on the phone to him, but he said something to him, you know what, I see Billy's off the phone now. Don't worry, he'll be back. And that's their attitude. Yeah. And your man told me this, and I was like, I'm never going back there, ever, to any fucking methadone clinic or any of that shit, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm determined, when I get something in my head, like, that's it, I'm done.
And I'd be like that with you. If I get it in my head and I want it, that's what I focus on. I think that's some of the traits of being an addict that are still positive. Because not every part of what we suffer with is necessarily negative. Like sometimes that resilience and that determination to keep going can be really good. It can be just channeled in a more healthier, positive way than the way we used to do
and fucking taking bleeding drugs and all this shit. You can put it to some other use, you know what I mean?
Sure, most people are addicts, but some of them are addicted to healthy things, you know what I mean? Whereas others like ourselves.
But that's what people
fucking bad things, you know.
That's what people would say to me with the fitness and all that. Have you not replaced one addiction for another? And I said no, because my life isn't unmanageable what I do now.
Yeah,
do you know
but
what
that's
I have balance.
But see the way people say that. That's small-minded cunts. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, you're only doing the gym because you're taking off drugs. So fucking what? You know what I mean? I'm not fucking. Listen, man, I have a fucking job. I fucking go to the gym, I do whatever, you know what I mean? It didn't take over my life, did it? No. You know what I mean? When I got off it, I got away from it, I stayed away from it. These fucking, you know what, I swear to God, some people like... They haven't a fucking clue, that's the problem, you know what I mean? They look at drug addicts all the same. You're all the same, you're all the same, you know what I mean? Fucking, I used to work with this bloke and he'd be like, oh, drug addicts, he should be shot and all, you know what I mean? Like, don't say stuff like that, because what's going to happen, it's going to come back around on you. Your daughter's going to end up on drugs, or your son, or someone in your family. Like, everything that can happen to you. Do you know what I mean? And like, that's why nowadays I don't laugh, not that I don't laugh, look, I buzz off whatever I buzz off, you know what I mean? But like, I wouldn't laugh at some other people's misery, you know what I mean? Like, funny things on fucking YouTube or whatever, you know what I mean? But actual misery for people. And that's why you see all these cunts that go around giving homeless people food and recording and all.
Oh, I hate that. I absolutely hate that.
It's ego.
Yeah, it's ego. Like earlier on, right, I fucking there's normally a bloke begging. I deliver up in up Raffarnham there, right? And there's normally a bloke out begging on the thing, right? Every time I see him, I give him a fiver, say, right? But today when I got there, right, there was a different chap there. You know what I mean? He wasn't Irish, you know what I mean? But I says to him, here, do you want a sandwich, you know? And he was like, yeah. Like, I gave him, it was my own sandwich. And you know what? Before I seen him, I was saying to myself, I'm going to mail that sandwich when I get in the van, because it was a nice one, you know what I mean? And I just got out and just gave it to him, you know what I mean? And then what happened? I drove around to do another delivery and I met a bloke and he gave me sushi. He gave me fucking loads of it, man. So, like, you know,
Yeah, and that's kind of how I am. Like, I do this thing, I call it a rack a day, right? So a random act of kindness, right? So I try to do something nice for someone every day and not tell anyone about it. Yeah. Now I'm telling you about it now, but like, that doesn't matter.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Because
it's the whole thing that, you know what I mean?
It's to be humble, right?
Yeah.
It's not about ego. So it's like, I might open the door for someone, stop the car, let them cross, stuff like that. When I was out doing the run today, I was out in the middle of the road trying to hold back the traffic, but the rest of the people who were running with me, I was trying to get them across, right? But that shit where I see people now, like these little, I call it yellow pack recovery people that, you know, they're only in recovery a wet day, right? No work on themselves, all ego, all that kind of stuff, right? And then they're running past the homeless person, they're walking past the homeless person and they're putting money in and they're recording, right? What about that poor homeless man? Have you asked him his permission? Is that okay? He mightn't want to be recorded. He might have family. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You're not getting his permission.
Taking his dignity.
Yeah. Plus,
you know what I mean?
The whole good deed is gone now because you've just told the world what you've done. Yeah. To me, that's not an act of kindness. That's not an act of kindness. That's more about the individual that's doing it. That's ego. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I go around, like, look, with the sandwich and all. I'm only telling you now because... But I do shit like that all the time. Like, I go into places and buy me lunch. I get me lunch for free, you know what I mean? I go in and get me lunch and I'd go around to the corner to another place, get a sandwich, walk back around, went to the chipper, give it to your man, the chipper, give it to the barber, give it to whatever. Like, here, I'll tell you a funny story, right? This about playing a Muslim fella now, right? So I get these meatballs, right? So I went around to him to give him the sandwich, right? And I says to him, here, the meatballs, you know what I mean? And he goes, what? I said, that beef, because I thought they were beef, you know what I mean? I said, that beef, you know? And a couple of days later, my boss was in the shop getting his hair cut, you know? And he's sitting down, he cutting his hair, and your man goes, listen, man, that sandwich Billy gave me the other day, it was fucking lovely. Meatballs. Your man says to him,
pork.
I thought you were a Muslim. And he goes, I am. He goes, we mix it with pork and beef. Your man was. The next day when I went in, he went, Billy, you never thought. I said, I swear to God, I didn't fucking know. You know what I mean? But yeah, just give him a little plug. Abdul, his name is, he works in Crew Barbers. Remember we gave your man a plug last week and he was like, yeah, you never mentioned me. So there you go, Abdul, Billy loves you. But yeah, no, the sandwich, you know, like it's
supposed to be selfless act. So a selfless act, right, where, come here, the thing for me is coming out of addiction. When you're in addiction, it's selfishness and self-centeredness, right?
Yeah.
The way to combat is to do the opposite, right? So it's selflessness, right?
Yeah.
Not about getting a pat on the back or an ego rub or anything like that, right? Don't need that. It's just doing something right for someone because they need it at that time, not about you. And you don't tell anyone. That's just how my rule
and like,
is.
you know, like that's what I was saying. The thing is said, somebody today remembers you, you know, or somebody's remembering you today for the act of kindness you gave them. Because you're probably the only one that ever done it for them, you know what I mean? Like,
and sometimes it's just a smile.
Yeah,
Walking down the street, giving some randomer a smile.
Yeah.
Might be what they need of that day. Do you know
What's
what I
the
mean?
story?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking good, you know what I mean? Like I said to some boy there the other day, you know, Jay, you're looking very well, your hair's lovely. And she was like, really? Like, you know, I was like, yeah, really, you look well. Like, I'm not coming on to you or anything, like, you know what I mean? I'm just giving you a compliment, like, it's, you know what I mean?
Isn't that the world we live in here, though? No, people are too quick to tear each other down nowadays, right?
Because
there's none
you know
of
what?
that anymore, like, you know, throwing someone a compliment, right? And we're kind of left then with the thinking, well, is that loud?
Was he playing spout now? You know what I mean?
He's trying to get into me.
Yeah, that's what happens.
I'm telling his board.
Yeah, you know, like you can't be like I used to work with these blokes, right? We go into a shop and your woman's nice to you behind the counter. How are you doing? She walks there. She's playing, trying to be nice. She wants you to buy stuff. You come out of the shop, your man say to you, "See, your woman's coming on to me." What? Your woman was coming on to me because she says, listen, people are just nice. You get it, like, you know what I mean? Like,
is that all you want on that?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, if someone say to me, your board's coming on to you, I wouldn't know. You'd have to tell me you're coming on to me because I don't know any signals or fucking signs. You know, people say, oh, if they mess with their hair, they do. Shut the fuck up, man. Just tell me. If you like me, tell me. Because if you don't, I don't read between the lines. I don't get any subtle hints. I don't know what's going on. So if there's any women out there that fancy me, call me. Let me know because I don't know.
Slide into your DMs.
Slide into me DMs. There you go. Into your DMs. Yeah, fucking hell.
I suppose for me now, where I'm at in life now, like going back to Tony, what I want to do is just be a Tony for others. I want to be someone else's Tony because we all need a Tony in our lives.
Oh, 100%. You know, well, look at here. Look at the impact he's had on your life. Do you know what I mean? So imagine you had a quarter of that on someone else's life. You know what I mean? Or all the people in your running club. You know what I mean? It's
that ripple effect. If you help one person and they go on to help one, you know, it just ripples on down through.
You know what I used to do, right, as well, with the random act of kindness, right? There was this fucking, actually seen your man walking down on the fucking Sean Moore Road. And I pulled up beside him and says, you remember me? And he goes, you're the bloke with the sandwiches, right? I used to get me lunch. I'd pull up and they'd be there. And I'd say to him, here, buddy, did you have your lunch today? And I'd say 3 people, and they're looking at you mad suspicious, like you're going to poison them or something, you know what I mean? And I say to this bloke, did you get your lunch today? No, there's a sandwich for you. Why are you giving me that? No. Just take it, man. Pass it on. If you see someone later on that you can help out, help them out, you know what I mean? Like, that's it, like, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I seen your man today, and he was like, oh, yeah, remember you to give me a sandwich, you know? I said, I'll be back in a few minutes, I'll have sushi. But he wasn't there when I went back, so. But yeah, so what's next for Pa?
Next for me, I suppose, we're looking at the moment now of trying to get our little running club affiliated with Athletics Ireland. So we'll be seen as a proper athletics club, which once again gives the members of the people I run with an identity. Like, we're not going to be any different to any other club. We'll be seen as society as the same, which is kind of what I've been trying to do.
We should be fucking anyway, you know what I mean?
Reintegrate them into society. Just to help people, you know, setting goals and achieving, and the same myself. We've got the Dublin Marathon coming up now in October, making plans to go over do a half marathon in Malaga in March. We're going to go over to Luxembourg because I've been there the last 2 years doing a run. Hopefully get the club or as many club members as we can to try go out there. If they start saving a little bit between now and then, hopefully a few can go. And you know, we're doing this run too, getting a bit of sponsorship. You know, that's the next thing, is the monkey on the back sponsorship. Try do that and try generate a few funds and a bit of awareness as well. And then just see where next year it takes us. We'll sit down. You know, we had to form a little board. So I've got 2 other people that are on the club with me. I'm the chairman. I have a secretary and a treasurer. So we sit down and we do things like a diplomacy. It's like before planning on doing something in the club, within the WhatsApp group, I throw a poll out because everyone's opinion matters. And like with the park runs we do, I set a challenge that we're currently doing at the moment, that we're trying to do all 24 of the Dublin park runs. So I've 7 left now to do by the end of the year. A few of them have a few more to do, but if they don't get them done this year, we'll pick it up next year, and we're looking at maybe doing making our own medal in that for that as well, just to show they can achieve. But even with that, to having that little bit of diplomacy and ownership for everyone, we throw a poll up, right, we're thinking of doing this park run or this park run, so let's vote. So whichever one wins, because other people have probably voted on the second one, the deal is that the following week we do that other one. So then everyone is included. You know what I mean? And for everyone to have a voice, I suppose, and everyone to have an identity and an ownership and whatnot of it. So, because that's why I wanted to make the board within the club as well, because I didn't want this to be about me. This is not about me. I'm just another person in the world that's trying to get well and stay well, and I do that by, you know, helping and coming alongside it. But they help me just as much, you know. They keep me humble. They remind me of what I suffer with and the hardship that's out there. Do you know what I mean? And I just love meeting people where they're at. Do you know what I mean? Without any judgment. I take people as they are. And that's it. You know, you'll have someone, why are you helping them? They're this, they're that. That's your experience of them. I'll make my own experience.
100%,
Yeah, it's all about that. And I suppose relationship building is huge within all of that. It's because trust, it's so hard to earn, right? And it can be shattered in a few milliseconds. Do you know what I mean? So it's like that, treating people with a bit of respect and dignity, you know, and love and compassion, and trying to work with them, you know. And if someone goes off and they use and they go, they'd be like, don't worry about it, come back. Just come back.
Like, you know, like, all through my life or whatever on drugs, you know, I relapse like fucking heaps of times, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, but people get bogged down with it, you know what I mean? Oh, you're about to relapse and that's it, you're going back to the start and all. So fucking what? You know what I mean? If I stop tomorrow, I want to get off it, like, you know, it just, sometimes you do be too hard on yourself.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
give yourself a break.
Yeah, like, people bleeding fuck up all the time. It's like, it's like that thing, you know, like you wake up every day, you can be a different person, you know what I mean? You don't have to be that fucking down on yourself just because you fucked up.
But see, like that, I like to put a different spin in it, not even fuck up, right? So when something like that happens, right, I'm like, no, this is an opportunity. What did you learn? Let's take the learning from what just happened, and that'll create new awareness, so it won't happen again. Do you know what I mean? Because you'll catch it quicker. Because every time you relapse, right, what took you years to get to one place, when you relapse, you get there very fucking quickly. You know, every time you end up in the desperation
100%,
a lot quicker, right? So it's like, take the learning from it. And that's the other thing too, that people always think, relapse I used last night. No, you didn't. You picked up last night. Your relapse happened prior. Now let's look at that. Slip into thinking. You know, a little bit of dishonesty, going into the shop, right, getting a cappuccino and only paying for the tea, right? It's only a simple little thing, but still being dishonest. And the thing of addiction, that's what it loves. It loves the dishonesty and the secrecy, because that's how it keeps you in the grips of it. And then it turns out to something else, and the little white lies start to become big black lies, and then in the end you'll use. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you use, that's picking up to me. To me, relapse happens prior. through the thinking, which affects the behaviour. Because that's what addiction is to me.
Well, 100,
addiction is the thinking person's disease, where all you do is think all the time, and that thinking affects the behaviour. And the thing is, today, you can think whatever you fucking want, right? Because you've no control on your thinking. Average human being, 70,000 thoughts a day. When you go up this morning, you put your left sock on before your right, they were both thoughts. But it's always the negative ones that you lock onto.
Right? I know, but when you wake up in the morning, your mind's searching for negative things to think of. I wake up every morning, no bullshit, right? And say to myself, today's going to be a wonderful day. You know what, Billy? You're the businessman. I look in the mirror in the morning and do be saying to myself, you're the business, let's go out and have to get this day. You know, it sounds corny and all, you know what I mean? Look, I don't give a bollocks what people think, to be honest with you, but that's my thing. But every day you wake up and say, I'm going to have a wonderful day. And the amount of shit that I have and positive things in my day every day, like, if I was going, I used to be going around with a mad negative attitude, in the fucking horrors, cranky with everybody, like, for about 5 or 6 years, man, I'm telling you, I was in a, this is only going back about 5 years ago, you know what I mean? But I was in a mad, cranky fucking humour, screaming at people in traffic, fucking this, fucking that. And now I'm like, I don't know what happened to me. It's like I just woke up or something, you know what I mean? But now I do be sitting in traffic and people are pulling out. I'd let 10 cars out and people beeping behind me and I'd be like, relax, man. The traffic lights change every 2 minutes. We'll get there, like, you know what I mean? And then now I think about it, I get paid to sit in traffic. So, like, it makes me even more chilled, you know what I mean?
And that's like, the way I look at it is you get an opportunity to restart your day. So if you get up in the morning, you're all positive, something happens within the day, right, that changes your mood. When you can catch it and identify it, it's like, you know what, I'll hand me will over for a bit, right? I don't need to be the driver of my own life. I'll trust someone else with it. Like, you know, I can be a passenger now for the next while, until things settle down. And then more often than not, when you have the bad day, it's reaching out and talking to someone else and not even telling them about your problem. Ask someone else how they are. Take yourself out of self, right? And then things start to change. And like, I can identify with the road stuff because I used to be a fucker in the car, right? And I wasn't just the person that bipped the horn, I'd be out of the car, right? And I remember a fella
getting into scraps with people and all, I
remember a fella used to say to me, he said, one of these days you're going to meet another one you. He said, you're a big fella, so most people would be intimidated when you get out. But eventually you're going to meet another you, and what are you going to do then? And I suppose it got me thinking, right? And I realised when I was driving into town, right, peace of mind would be gone because of the traffic, right? And that's not good for me. I'd be bipping the horn. And for the rest of the day, then people would be going on, not giving two fucks about me, but I'd be suffering. What was their age? I'll see them again, and I'll be back out here tomorrow at that time.
And then when you meet people, you start putting it on to them, you start telling them, oh, you want to see what this cunt said they're doing, blah, blah, blah.
Trying to justify how your behaviour was.
Exactly.
And for me, it'd be like, I'd be looking at going somewhere, right, and say the Google Maps and say it takes 15 minutes to get there. I expect to be there in 15. Not that there could be any variables, that there could be traffic delays, a crash, anything, lights out, right? In my mind, 15 minutes.
15 minutes,
and leave it to the last minute. So I realise now there's a better way. When I'm going into town now, right, do you know what I do? Because town is a nightmare to go into, right? And then parking is a nightmare. So again, you find parking and the price of it. For me, it's so much easier. I park my car in Bray. I get the dart. Have a little look on my phone, you know, have a few looks on the phone, have a few videos, or be texting people. $5.50 for a return ticket, and I arrive into town like the Dalai Lama, a man of peace. Where when I don't, I'm like, argh!
It was like when I was coming up here, you know, when I was saying to myself, like, I left me gaff at like 6:45, and I was like, I'll be up there in 10 minutes. I'm driving along, and then I was like, fuck, I need a bottle of water. Like, I pulled in to get a bottle of water, and then I just pulled up on the back of the street, and you want to see the traffic? I was like, where's all these people going? But and then the traffic was just mayhem all the way up, you know. But no. You know, we always saying I hate people to be late, man. I'm always late.
I know I used to always be late in addiction, right? But then I realised I used to, like my dad, he look back at it now, he actually did instill some really good qualities on me. But I didn't use them back then, but I do today. And one or two of them that stand out to mine is try to be punctual. You know, and try to be impeccable with your word. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Follow it through. Stay true to your commitments. And I pride myself on that stuff. And there's stuff that I got from my dad. But in addiction, I'd be the very opposite. And I hated that. But now I see the value in it. Do you know what I mean? And I suppose as well for me too is with that. Like, I put the family through a lot of shit over the years, right?
Yeah.
And I suppose the greatest gift I've given me family back that I've been given through recovery is I've given them peace. They don't need to worry about me anymore. I'm not a cause of concern for them anymore. They know I'm all right.
Cool,
what I mean? Yeah. I'm just tipping away trying to live my life.
Yeah, no, here, listen, you don't realise, don't you know, like when you're on drugs, that how badly it affects your family. You know what I mean?
You
like,
think they're the problem?
Yeah,
if you
that's
just fuck off and leave
if
me
you left me
and
alone,
I'd be
man,
all
I'd be
right.
fucking sitting here, give me a bag of thing, or be playing happy as Larry.
Yeah.
But like you wouldn't, you know
And
what
they're
I mean?
only doing it because they care.
Yeah,
but you
like,
don't see that at the time.
look, you don't see anything. All you see is drugs. You don't give a fuck about anybody. Like, I used to meet people and be playing, you know, you just don't care, you know what I mean?
That's it.
You don't even care about yourself.
No, you don't, like, you know
Just
what I mean? You just want to fucking be out of it, you know what I mean?
That's it.
And you're just trying to escape reality. Now it's like, you know, fuck it, man.
So when I said to you earlier on, my problem was I had an allergy to myself and how I was back then, right?
Yeah.
And drugs became the solution for a while, and they were like the antihistamine, right?
Yeah.
But that antihistamine stopped working. The new antihistamine for me is recovery.
Yeah.
And it's something that I do every day. I invest in my recovery every single day because it's a never-ending journey. You know, there's no arrival point on this because it's the mind, life on life's terms. You don't know what's going to be thrown at you on any given day. So you just try to get up and try to do the best you can every day. And one of the biggest things is just try not to be a cunt.
Yeah.
You know, just try to be nice to people.
That's what we say, like, the world is full of cunts, don't be one.
Yeah, and more importantly is don't be a cunt to yourself.
Yeah, no.
You know, give yourself a break. Put down that stick, pick up the feather, give yourself a bit of love. Yeah. Because you're worth it. Do you know what I mean? You really are worth it.
Oh, big time. Like, I give myself a pat on the back and all, you know what I mean? Like, if they be sitting at home and say, fair play to you, got your things, shit together, got your... Not, like, I'm off drugs years, like, you know what I mean? It's not even that, you know, but just things what's happening now, like with the podcast and shit like that, you know what I mean? You yourself a pat, give yourself a hug and all, you know what I mean?
But that's the old law of attraction. When you start to do the right things,
100%.
the right things happen.
Manifestation, you know what I mean? Like, you manifest this fucking... But you have to put the work in. But if you stay positive, like... You know, people say, people do say to me, what are you all positive about and all? Fuck's sake, you fuck all to be positive about. Like, what? Fucking loads of things, man. Listen, my life, like, I read that book, The Secret.
Yeah.
And my life changed after that. Like, some bloke put me onto it. And I was going around for about 30 odd years with me bleeding head up me hole. Not, you know what I mean? Yeah, blinkers on, you know what I mean? Or my life is shit, or poxy this, your life is going to be shit if you keep saying your life is shit. Because you attract this shit to you. What you put out, you get back, you know what I mean? So if you're putting out negative thoughts about yourself, people are going to look at you and go, look at him, he hates himself, or whatever, you know what I mean? But like we said a few minutes ago, like, I genuinely don't care what anybody thinks about me. And it's so fucking, it's so fucking, what you call it, liberating. You know what I mean? Like, it's great. But, you know, I know there is loads of people out there that think and worry about what other people think of them. Listen, fuck what they think. Fuck what anyone thinks. You know what I mean? But, yeah.
And that's it. Like I said earlier on, that whole thing, I always felt different. Didn't feel like I fitted in, right? And then I realised I do have a place.
Yeah.
My place is in recovery. I found me people.
Yeah.
Your vibe attracts your tribe. So the right people have come into my life.
Yeah.
You know, people that I can trust. You know, that I can sit down, have honest conversations with, and love me unconditionally. Yeah. And I love them unconditionally. Where before, I couldn't love anybody. I couldn't even love myself.
Couldn't even love yourself, yeah.
And I was so hard on myself, and I judged everybody like how I judged myself.
Yeah.
And I couldn't receive love because I couldn't give the love to me. And all of that is very different now.
Yeah.
Like, I have no problem going up to any of my friends and saying to them, I fucking love you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's honest, it's how I actually truly, genuinely feel about it. And I never thought I could say that about
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
You know, going up to a man that you're friends with and saying, I fucking love you, bro.
I love you, bro. Yeah.
And being able to say that, it's huge. Like,
oh, yeah, definitely,
because
you know
the way...
like men are like, you know, like,
know,
that's what we were saying about last week and all. You know, when you see people, you say, how are you doing? And they say, oh, grand, no, but how are you really doing? You know what I mean? That's like it's a conversation that most people are not ready for. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you ask somebody how are you doing, you know, most people don't really care how you're doing. They just want you to say, grand, not a bother. Happy days, living the dream, blah, 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 you know. You know, people say living the dream like a bit sarcastic, like, you know what I mean? If you're not living the dream, go out and fucking live the dream, you know what I mean? Like, you know, people say you like your job and this. I love my job. I absolutely love my job. You know, once you love something, you never work a day in your life. Like, every day, like, I know I give out the odd time about, like, it's normal, you know what I mean? But, like, I have to reverse in that place. See that lane out there, man? I have to reverse in that lane in the big, huge fucking van. You know what I mean? And I love it. You know, it's like, yeah.
And that's it. Like, I'm saying, 9 to 5 job I do is working with people in addiction. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I do. I love being able to make a difference, give that little bit of hope as well. And like the people that with the club, so we call ourselves a community, but it's not. It's more like a family.
Yeah.
Like the people that are in that club with me, they're like me brothers and sisters. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I have proper relationships. I
Relationship
probably have better
with them, you know what I
relationships
mean?
with them
Than
than I
you
do
do
with
with
my
your brother and
biological
sister.
family.
Yeah.
Because I've gone off and I've changed and I've put a bit of work into myself, but unfortunately my family is still the same.
Yeah.
The way they were back then, right?
Yeah.
And I struggle sometimes because sometimes when I'm around the family, I feel like I'm the foreign student.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
one
black
language
sheep,
and they're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
another. And I always was the black sheep, you know,
Yeah.
middle child. But I still feel like that sometimes within that setting.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but I have to remind myself that it's like I have to take people where they are.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
that's-
And I'm the one that's gone off and found a new way to live and got given new tools.
Yeah.
And I can instill all of that stuff on my own children as I go by.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But my family, you know, I love my family as well. But I have different kind of love with my family, and then I have a different kind of love with my recovery family.
Yeah, yeah,
'Cause that's
yeah.
what we are. We're like a family. Like some of the people that are in that running club with me, honest to God, like they're amazing. Like the stuff that they done. I've one girl was in a bad car accident, broke her shoulder, her elbow and ribs, and her determination not to give up is incredible. Another guy, like full of anxiety, couldn't stand in a room with one or two people. Now he's in crowds. We were in Stockholm a few weeks ago with 35,000 people with one of the lads who couldn't stand in a room with two people.
Yeah.
Like, that's the change.
Yeah.
That's like living miracles.
Yeah.
I'm not a religious person, but I'm actually watching these miracles of change in front of me and the resilience of these other people. Do you know what I mean? And if I wasn't doing what I was doing, I wouldn't have these people in my life.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And these people are going to go on and impact other people.
Yeah, in a positive way, you know what I mean?
They do it every day, and you know, they're kind of like me. They think a bit like me as well, and that's we need people that think for these.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're just going to keep trying to build this community and keep generating awareness.
Going.
You know, keep flying the flag for recovery.
Yeah.
You know, it is possible. You know, as I said earlier on, let's end the fucking stigma and show people there is a better way. Do you know what I mean?
Sure, listen, we're living proof of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've all been through a similar bleeding situation, you know what I mean?
And you know what? The fucked up thing about it is we're only ever one bad decision from going back there. We're
Yeah.
not immune from it.
No.
Really not immune from it.
Look here, you fucking fight these battles in your head every day. Like, people don't. They get easier as over the years because, like I say, I'm fucking a waiting girl like 20 odd years, you know what I mean? And the methadone about 15, 16 years, probably more. But like, they're still, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I don't put myself in a situation where I'm bleeding. I know it could happen anytime, like someone could die, someone could, you know, in your family or whatever, and you can all come crashing down. Not crashing down, but, you know. So I just try to keep me head, on the, you know what I mean? I kind of face things. I've always been like that, you know what I mean? Mm. Like, I was a lonely child and all, you know what I mean? So, like, you know yourself, Frankie, you know? So you just grew up on your own. You had to look after your own, you know what I mean? Mm. Your own head, like, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Anything you want to plug, Pat?
You want to plug anywhere?
Just this monkey in the back that we're doing in a couple of weeks' time, the 4 points of the compass challenge, where I'll be going to 4 locations. You know, if there's anyone in them areas, they're more than welcome to come out and join me on the run. Follow our Instagram, Active Recovery, Run a Community, or my own Equilibrium, Active Recovery. Love the support. Even if people just want to come out and walk or say hello, it'd be great. So thanks.
Give Pat your support. Right, episode 15 in the bag. It's a wrap. Billy loves you. Thanks very much for coming, Pat. Pleasure.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks for having me on.
Educational. Big time.